Hi everyone, I'm Richter. I'm one of the co-founders and CEO of Uncrowd.io. We can go on to the next slide. In the area we're trying to address is the gap in venture funding for underrepresented founders. So right now, less than 3% of all venture capital goes to Black, Indigenous people of color. Less than 4% goes to female founders, despite statistically having better returns. 0.0006% of venture funding goes to Black women, which is nominally nothing. 90% of venture funding goes to people that look like me, white, male, straight, and cisgender. And so I am building something to try and change that. Next slide, please. We built an MVP for Uncrowd.io. It's a two-sided marketplace. We're populating founders on one side, underrepresented founders. We have over 100 so far on the platform. We're populating investors on the other side as a complementary tool to deal flow. Our goal here is to kill the pipeline problem narrative. We want this tool, anytime somebody says, any investor says, I'm having a pipeline problem, we can say, you don't anymore. Here's the tool for you. And right now we have over 50 investors already on the platform as well. If you could go to the next slide, please. As we're growing, we are looking for awareness in users. We have the same issue that any two-sided platform has when starting. The product isn't great until we scale up on both sides. And so we're looking for startup users. We're looking for connections into groups that have startup users. We're trying to support more underrepresented founders. We are also trying to scale up quickly. We're not a particularly capital-intense product, but we are looking to raise $250K in seed funding right now to scale up our marketing efforts and grow this thing faster. And then my question for the panelists, for Christina, is how do you respond as an investor when your peers parrot that pipeline problem narrative? How do you react to that?
Oh, Forrest, so many feelings and emotions with that one. But first, thank you for the question. And then also, this has been a conversation I've had the last couple of months, the last couple of years. First, I love that you're kind of blowing up the status quo around this and making it easier for the finding and matching of founders to investors. But you gave some stats on who gets the funding. So I actually want to just add stats on who actually funds. We see there's the problem there. It's no surprise, that mostly the VC space is made up of white males, like you mentioned on the funding side of who actually gets the funding. Women represent, I think, about 8% of investors. Latinx makes about 2%. And if I'm correct, Black VCs are about 1%. And then Black women VCs are even less than that. So there's no wonder why we have the numbers that we do. And so I see the problem more as a representation problem of who's actually writing the check. I'd also say a few things just in terms of, from an entrepreneurial perspective, when you think about investors, I would really, think about the landscape. So we have VCs as part of the solution. We have angel investors as part of the solution. We've got non-dilutive grants. Crowdfunding is another viable. And I want to echo what Jeff mentioned to Monte, which is your best fundraising is really obtaining customers. So it's going back to that business fundamentals. But back to your question about what I say to my peers who parrot the pipeline problem is, quite frankly, they're leaving money on the table. When they don't choose to see diverse founders or consider diverse founders or evaluate due diligence on diverse founders or invest in companies or even fund managers that are women or people of color, they're simply leaving money on the table. So I would say, we need to change the writing, the folks who are writing checks. We need to have more people who are scouting, providing information, educating, advocating for entrepreneurs that are on this call. We need more calls like this where we can do more organic introductions to support, advise, open doors. We saw a few folks back and forth saying, I'll help you, I'd advise you, opening doors for customers, potential partnerships, and then investment. So we need to do more of this, and it's a delicate balance. There's another interesting statistic that I read, and I think it was a Lumen Capital report called It's Not a Pipeline Problem with Darren Dodson. And he actually pointed out that the more senior, more experience that a fund manager actually has, the harder it is and the more barriers that fund manager has in getting LPs into their fund. And I think that's the same that we see in terms of entrepreneurs who have more experience. So that's just something to keep in mind. The system is broken. We need more innovators like you bringing solutions to bear to connect folks. And again, happy to chat with you more offline, but I'm excited to see what you put together.
Thank you.